Hello folks, DIY Dan here. Today we're going to work on my 2007 Dodge Magnum RT 5.7 liter V8. It's got the Hemi in it, got about almost 108,000 miles on it. I am the original owner, so I bought the car back in September 2007, had 66 miles on it. So all those miles are mine, so I know how this car has been riding for 10 years. And today we're just going to do the spark plugs and maybe the serpentine belt, depending on time permitting. That's my goal for today. Spark plugs are relatively easy, and there's 16 of them because it's 2 per spark, 2 per cylinder. So, and these have solenoid. They're not distributor cap and wires, so it helps out a little bit. Generally, these are the original coil packs I meant, not solenoid, but coil packs. Those are originals. You can change those out too, and I may change those out later for new ones since they're 10 years old and have, almost 11 now actually, and have 108,000 miles on them. But they're still functioning good, so we're going to leave them for now. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not a mechanic, and therefore, I'm sure you mechanics out there may have issues with things. That's fine. You can make a comment below, tell me I'm doing everything wrong. My goal here is to show folks that even if you have no mechanical training, that you can do basic maintenance on your vehicle, and by watching this video or other videos out there from other channels. So let's get started. Okay, so here's our engine. Like I said, it's a Hemi. The tools we're going to need for today are hopefully just these. Got a 10mm socket. That's for taking, unbolting the coil packs. Got a 3/8 inch drive socket, or wrench, ratchet, excuse me, an extension just in case, and our spark plug socket. It's as you can see, it's got that foam in there, and our spark plugs. I've chosen to use these. Here's your part number in case you need it. I'll turn the light on there for you. Here's the part number, 6711. They're Bosch Platinums. A lot of the forums talk about, one or two of the forums talk about just putting the old cheap plugs in. The engine runs great. All the research I've done has basically said that the only difference is between the copper cheap ones and the platinum ones and the iridium ones is interval changes. So if you want to change your spark plugs more often, they say use the copper ones. If you want to change them less often, use the platinum or iridium. That's a personal preference of yours. I've chosen the platinums today. This is the first time I'm putting the platinums in, and I have been using the copper ones, so we'll see how that goes. First thing we need to do is take the cover off. This would just pop right off. I'm going to have to do this one-handed, so forgive me if it's a little shaky. I really got that on there, didn't I? There it goes. Alright. We'll just put that off to the side, revealing the engine. Alright, so here's your cylinders. You've got your coil packs. Move my light here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one's really going to be your only challenge, and it's not even that much of a challenge because we can just remove this vacuum hose. That's all that is, and that'll give us clearance. Shouldn't have too much trouble. The only one, again, these rear ones, there's a little bit of stuff in the way, but shouldn't be that much of a problem. So first thing we're going to want to do is disconnect these coil packs, and that's simply by pushing this tab in right here. We'll release the plug. You can just push it right out of the way just like that. It's a big engine bay. And 4. There we go. And we'll work on this passenger side first. Okay, I'm hoping you got a good angle. This is from the front is that way, the back of the car is in that direction. So I've chosen to use a extension and a knuckle swivel socket to get these out. But they're just 10 millimeters. There's one screw on each side. Just need to break them loose, then you can hand loosen them after that. Hand loosen all these. It should just pull right out. This one you're just going to have to go past the dipstick a little bit. You could even take it out if you want to, but there's our prize. That's what we were looking for. The last time I changed the spark plugs, I had to change these boots out because one ripped when I pulled it out. So be careful, that can happen. Luckily they come off and come back on again. But I leave the bolts in them so that way I don't lose the bolts. So we'll just put these somewhere where we won't lose them. It don't matter what order they're in, so you don't have to keep them in order, but I do just for organizational purposes. And they're all done the same way. I'll get this second one out, and then like I said, they're all done the same way, so there's no sense in filming more than 1 or 2 of them. But as you can see, it's not that hard to get them out. Sometimes just wiggle them back and forth a little bit, and boom, they come right out. Alright, I've gotten all 4 out. And just set them up there for safekeeping. This last one, I had to pull this up off here. It was very simple. It just comes down on there and you just pull it up. Moved it out of the way so I could pull this cable back to get it out. So there's your holes down in there. All your spark plugs, like I said. Each cylinder has 2. You want to try to keep dirt and debris from in there. So now we'll get our socket on there and pull them out. Oops. I'm going to do this one-handed, or at least I'm going to give it a shot, see how it goes. I'm going to leave my extension on, but I'm going to take the actually my extension might be a little too long for that one. Let me check on that. I'll be right back. Okay, what I ended up going with this is a shorter extension, and then it was just too short, so I added the swivel extension, and it not only does it give me enough length, but it also It gives me the ability to do this. So now I can get it in there. Last thing you want to do, you want to get that on there, and you might have to push down on it to compress that foam, but you just want to give it a turn and break each of them loose. And it's a little difficult with this swivel, so we're going to swap that out. It just started raining. It's been raining here for days. That's why the car is only half outside. I'm glad I started it inside here. It's alright. I've got a magnet, so if I lose my extension in there, I can get it out with the magnet. There we go. Alright, I had to break it loose a little bit off camera because it was really hard to do with one hand. But I don't have an intermediate extension. I've just got either really long or really short. So if you have an intermediate one that's a little longer than the one I have, knock yourself out. Use that, it'll be great. Alright, so we'll get the socket started on there. Actually, I broke this ratchet once. Actually, this is actually a replacement for my original I broke years ago. And it is a Craftsman, so I took it to Sears, and instead of replacing it, they remanufactured it, and I told me if I had any more problems out of it to bring it back and they'll replace it. Well, I'm having problems with it. It does not hold on to sockets and or extensions in this case. There we go. So I'm going to take it back and make them replace it. And then I can hear that the teeth aren't ratcheting in the opposite direction very well. So they're just gonna have to give me a new one because it's a pain. Alright, basically we'll just do that with all of them, break them all loose. I'll do this cylinder just to show you, but they're all the same. Switch hands back. Alright, as some of you may have noticed, I lost my socket in there. If that happens, that's not a problem. As long as you've got one of these cool magnets, they extend. You just drop it in there. Once you break it loose from the spark plug, and just pull it right out, which is what I did. So I am going to loosen this the rest of the way and get these spark plugs out. Thought I had it all the way out and loosened, but apparently I did not. Another way you can keep from losing your socket down there is when you're done, put pressure on it like that and then pull it out, because the foam is what is holding on to the spark plug, protecting the porcelain. And a lot of times that will also, if you have a worn out ratchet like mine, you'll lose your socket in there. But don't panic. There's always a way to get it out of there. These threads are pretty long on these spark plugs, which is why, and they're fine threads. So that's why it's taking a little longer. I suppose I can hook this back up and do it that way. See how that goes. Alright. There it is. Alright, notice how I grabbed it with my finger like that. Alright, that's looking, as you can tell, I had a leak at one time, which has been repaired, but actually no, that's dielectric grease. I did have an oil leak down there at the back. The valve cover has O-rings that go around each of these, and one of mine down there in that piston right down here had started leaking, so I replaced it. And, so hopefully I never changed. I can't remember if I changed the spark plugs or not after that. But anyway, there we go. So, we'll get the other one out here. Oh, while we're looking, is my light on this? Yes. This actually, the spark plug looks real good. This is no bad burn marks. This brown around the porcelain is perfectly normal. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that. My spark plugs are doing well, which means my engine's burning the way it's supposed to. They're just, you know, it's been quite a few miles since they've been changed, so I gotta change them at regular intervals. And I'd be concerned if it was black or burned or covered in oil, or like my piston down there, like one of my spark plugs down there was, or if it was wet with gasoline. That would be a problem too. Those all indicate different types of leaks that you would need to look into to get that fixed. That's bad mojo right there. And if you don't let those leaks go, as you all probably know, the longer you let a repair go, the worse the damage and the more expensive it is. Part of the reason why it's good to learn to do this yourself is I have no idea what a mechanic charges for this, but it's probably cheaper. There we are. To do it yourself. In fact, I know it is. So there we are again. This is perfectly normal wear. See, I've still got electrode left there. Again, that brown around the bottom of the porcelain is perfectly normal. And there we go. So that's the process of pulling the plugs. I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of them. It's the same process. And you can join me back when I'm done with that. Alright, so there we are. There's one side done. Those of you with one spark plug per cylinder, you'd be done with pulling your spark plugs. Not me, that's only half of them. So they're all in really good condition. You can actually take and smell them. If they smell like gas, that might be a problem, but these are all really good. So now this is what we're going to put in, and there will be some prep with it, but I just wanted to show you these. They are pre-gapped. I don't remember what the gap is. You'll have to check your owner's manual. Actually, here it is right here for this particular model. If you'd like to know, where is it? There it is. So it's 0.045 inches or 1.14 millimeter gap. So, and that's right here on the hood, or the underneath the hood here. So good pre-gapped spark plugs will come packaged like this with this protective cover over the electrode. That's so that it will protect the gap in shipping. So these are, as I said, pre-gapped already, so you don't even have to worry about them. If you must, you can test them, but I find a lot of times if you're too rough with the gapper, you can actually ruin the gap on it. So I just go with what the manufacturer has sent. I figured it's their plug. They know what they're doing. But there's the, let me get it on, there we go. There's the electrode. So there we go. So we're going to do some prep on our pull packs, and we'll get these spark plugs installed. Okay, so what I do is I take these, and I have this tube. You can also get some other dielectric grease. I like to putting a little bit of this in there. It keeps the water out, or helps keep the water out, and also improves conductivity. So I don't do a lot, just like that, and I'm just gonna do it like that. So it looks like that. That'll get pushed up in there when you push it on the spark plug. Plus, it helps doing that with the spark plug. So we're just gonna do that for each coil pack. And we will put our spark plugs in. Again, it's a super simple job. It's just time consuming, that's all. There are some vehicles, I shouldn't say some, there are a lot of vehicles that the spark plugs are super hard to get to. Those are obviously going to take a little longer, but trust me, unless there's some foreign jobby that, and not that I have anything against foreign cars, I've owned a few myself. Some of y'all are probably going, why the heck do you own a Dodge? Well, this was my muscle car that I decided to buy. But anyway, I digress. There you go. And now we'll start putting the spark plugs back in. Alright, so let's get putting these plugs in. Now it's very important that you don't hit this electrode on any part of the car, because you could bend it out of shape and ruin your gap. Your car won't run well. So you just want to take these and put them down in the car very gently. Follow them down with your finger all the way down till they reach the bottom there. And do that with each one of them. Just follow them down with your finger until they bottom out, nice and gentle. And then one thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this, never, ever, 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 have I made my point, never, ever, ever, never use impact tools with spark plugs. You will, these are fine threads. If you cross thread these, you will screw up your head and be having a bad day. So just go easy, easy. There we go. The best thing is, to quote another YouTuber, sometimes you gotta go slow to go fast. And that would be good old Eric O from South Main Auto. And he's right. because in the long run, take a little more time to do the job right the first time, and you won't have to do it again or repeat the same work during the same job. Alright, so now we're going to hand tighten these. You're going to be very careful, like I said, for cross threading. So remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So I'm going to make sure these threads catch. Again, don't even use electric tools. Hand tools for spark plugs are the best. And really just hand tighten these down until they bottom out. That is the best way. And for these particular ones, like you saw, they have long threads. So they're going to take a little while, a minute or so to get them all the way down there, but now you can find out what the torque spec is on these, but it's not a lot if I remember correctly, and you really just want to, that's hand tight. After that, you're just going to snug them down a little more, just enough to compress that washer just a little bit. So there's really no need to use a torque wrench. I mean, if you have one and you love using a torque wrench, knock yourself out. I'm sure somebody can provide the torque specs in the comments below, but I haven't ever used it, and I've never had trouble on my cars that I've owned over the years. I've done this many times on many different cars, Camrys, Saturn, Nissan Sentra, Honda Odyssey. Just did my wife's Honda 2011 Honda Odyssey EXL. Did all hers. She's got the 6-cylinder, the 3.5 liter. She's got a little over 22,000 miles on it. Actually, it was 121,000 when I did the plugs and did her belt. She's got a serpentine belt in hers too. So, and the rest of the cylinders are, the rest of the plugs, I mean, are just the same. Oh goodness, that's not good. Alright, for those of you who saw that, this did drop out, but I checked it, checked the gap. The gap's fine. It fell down into the engine, actually minimally hit anything metal, so we are good to go with that. But that was a close one. So just be aware of that. That can happen. Again, nobody's perfect. Stuff happens, right? Or the other S word. And all we're going to do is snug them down. So, already tightened. You just want to give them a little turn, that's it. enough to snug them. You don't want to put like 90 foot-pounds of torque on them. Want to snug them down a little bit. Whoa! Okay. That, almost lost my camera there. Let me see. You adjust your back. There we go. You're back. Try not to do that again. Switching to my long extension again. It's a little easier to work with. There we go. That's it. Our spark plugs are changed. Now we will put our electrodes, I don't know why I keep saying that, our ignition coils back in. Again, they go in the same way they came out. No particular one, doesn't matter which one goes into which cylinder. Just push it down until you feel it push over the top of the spark plugs. And you just get those bolts started. Again, you want to hand tighten all this. If you want to clean all this up, you can, but just be very careful nothing gets down into the cylinder or the spark plug tube. Even though the spark plug's in there and will prevent anything from getting in there, when you go to change the spark plug again, it will make a mess, and all that stuff will just fall right back in there again. So. Again, this is a 10mm bolt. I'm going to swap the knuckle around on this side. There we go. I just swapped it back to this side. Okay. Alright, that's it. That's all the tightening you need to do on it. See what I mean? The thing just pops right off. Very annoying. Definitely need to get that placed. But there we go. Just snugging it down. There we go. That's it. I think we got it. There we go. Alright. Note to self, get a new ratchet. Alright. The only thing we have left is plug back in our coil packs. If you want, actually, it's not a bad idea. If you want, you can run some dielectric grease in there. Again, that's more preventative than anything else. I like to do that just to keep the moisture out just a little bit. Get in there. Again, you may sit there saying, "Oh, don't do that." Well, this is my car, so that's what I like to do. I did it with my wife's car. Not a single problem out of it. So there you go. And just snap right in. And don't forget to put this back on. There you go. The other side is exactly the same. Really, your biggest obstacle on this side, which is the driver's side, is this hose right here. But luckily, it's just a vacuum hose. You just unplug it, and actually, you can just do both sides. Set it off to the side here. Just be aware it is directional, as you can see. So that's going in this way. The arrow is pointing into this right here, so into this. So make sure it goes in that way. You just put that off to the side, and boom, you're off to the races. So I'm going to try to do this with fast forward, so that you guys can watch me have fun pulling these out. Alright, so other than that, the procedure is the same. Procedure is the same. This one. What in the world? Oh boy, that's not good. That might be a problem. We're going to have to... See, that was this one. I could have sworn we changed both those things, but that... Did I forget some? Oh, I forgot one. Look at that. Okay, well, I'm an idiot. I guess I should have counted. How silly of me. It's very important to make sure you take them all out. It does help when you want to replace them. I got distracted. That's what happens. It's okay. There it is. Alright. It's a good stopping point anyway, because I had to take these last two out of the box anyway, so right. Once again, dielectric grease, and they just go right back in, and just hear that sound. That means they're in. Get the screws started. Cleaned this one out as best I could. Hopefully it'll be alright. Like I said, at some point I'm going to replace these coil packs anyway. But for now, I need them to work. Otherwise, the rest of these are in exceptional shape, considering it's got 108,000 miles on it. This is definitely the easier side. Alright. 10mm socket back. And I'm just going to cinch these, snug these down. Well, as my light dies there, plug them in. Very important. Car won't start without these plugged back in. I'm sorry, it's the second to last step. We have one more step on this side. Make sure they go in until they snap. And then remember this hose? Gotta put this hose back on. There we go. Make sure it's all the way on. That's it. Alright. Now we're going to start it. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see what she sounds like. Gonna get my keys way over here. Alright, let's hope we get a good thumbs up. All the cylinders are firing. That's just my squeaky belt. It'll stop in just a second. It always does that when it's cold. You can see the wobble there. I'm going to fix that in another episode. I'm not going to have time to get to that today, but you can see all the little pack is doing good. Sounds good. Should be good to go. Alright, just gotta put the cover back on. This just pops right into place. Line it up, of course. easy. Supposed to be easy, but as usual, just there it is. There it goes. Alright. Well, there you are. Spark plugs. 2007 Dodge Magnum. SRT. I'm sorry, not a SRT. I'm delirious. RT 5.7 liter V8 16 valve engine, Hemi, 108,000 miles. Just put in the platinum spark plugs. Had a little issue with two of them that were loose. There's a bunch of gunk inside. I think that's just burned oil. Hoping it's just burned oil. Snugged the new ones down good. Seems to be running fine as far as the spark and all that. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get better gas mileage. I just like to say God bless the man who invented this magnet, because as you all saw, most of the time I dropped a whole bunch of stuff. This rescued it every time. So if you don't have one of these, get one. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the description below, and I'll try to get to them. Good or bad, doesn't matter which. And this is DIY Dan. I will see you next time.